Cooler, a footnote villain in the non-canon universe of Dragon Ball, but a mainstay antagonist of this What If series. Cooler's presence in this What If has been constant. He has made multiple appearances and been a dire threat each and every time, and he's back with this continuation of What If Raditz fought Goku at Kame House. If you're new to this series, part 1 is right above my head, and if you're not subscribed currently, please subscribe and leave a like. It helps the channel out immensely. In our last part, we saw New Namek under assault. Cooler, launching an attack after years of research and locating the planet, had one goal in mind: using the Dragon Balls to bring back his family. Well, that's not entirely true, because he had a second plan as well: reviving the ancient Saiyan, Cumber. And he did it. Even with powerful defenders on the planet, such as Caracol and Granola, they were not able to stop Cooler. They couldn't even come close to it, and the wishes were granted. Through a brief conversation, Cumber agreed to accompany Cooler in their quest to kill the Super Saiyan gods. But Cumber was asked to show off his power in taking out Caracol, and he obliged. However, when this happened, it was felt by Piccolo from far away, and he used instant transmission to immediately show up and challenge them. Piccolo is no weakling. At this current time, he is known to be the strongest of the entire Dragon Team. But will he be strong enough to finally overcome the might of Cooler? Let's find out. Ah, Piccolo! So nice to see you, surrounded by the eradication of your entire race. Have you come to join them? Join them? You act as if we can't just bring them back. No, I've come to avenge them. Yes, those pesky Earth Dragon Balls. Well, rest assured, we plan to stop there next to prevent that from happening. However, I don't feel like I want to deal with you. Oh, Cumber, why don't you show us that power once more? Cumber stepped off the ramp to get a bit of a closer look at Piccolo. He stared him up and down, then turned back to Cooler. No, I don't think I will. Cooler was certainly unhappy to hear that. I beg your pardon, Cumber. Why? Why do you think? He isn't a Super Saiyan god. I have no interest in him, and last I checked, I'm not your subordinate. You've already asked me to show you my power. Now why don't you show me yours? Make it known that it's worth my trouble to team up with you. This got under Cooler's skin, but he remained composed. Of course, the ancient monkeys were just as insolent as the current ones. No matter, he had plenty of power to show off. I suppose you're right. I'll deal with this trash myself then. Cooler walked down the ramp and slowly started making his way towards Piccolo. When he got to the halfway point between the ramp and the Namekian, he stopped. As soon as Cooler had halted, Piccolo took it as a sign to start. He began powering up rapidly. His ki was rising, even to the surprise of Cooler. He was exceeding where he was at previously, and a new color came across his skin. This was unusual, not something he had seen before. No matter. But Cooler didn't have a lot of time to process what was going on. He barely got himself into golden form before he received a punch square in his face that sent him careening into a cliffside. And then, he didn't have time to compose himself before Piccolo was on him again. He managed to pull himself together and started trading blows back with Piccolo, but these hits were hurting. Piccolo was definitely not someone to underestimate, and he was just seemingly growing stronger and stronger as the battle went on. None of it seemed to make any sense. He remembered that other Namekian that fused into him wasn't even a part of him anymore. How the heck was he even stronger than when he fought him last? No matter, he needed to stop getting sidetracked with this thought. He caught an incoming punch from Piccolo and delivered a punch in return. As Piccolo went flying away, however, he disappeared. Using instant transmission, he ended up right behind Cooler, launching a punch directly into his back. And Cooler didn't have the convenience of teleporting away. He went flying directly into the ground, and before he was even out of it, he saw a special beam cannon heading right at him. He just barely missed it, with it grazing his tail, and he knew if one of those hit him square on, it would be a lot of trouble. Piccolo dropped to the ground a little distance away from Cooler, and the two of them stared each other down once more. You've certainly gotten more powerful, Namekian. I never knew that a plant could pack such a punch. Cooler was practically gritting his teeth as the words were escaping his mouth. As the battle had dragged on, he had come to realize that he was physically a little stronger than Piccolo. However, Piccolo had a wide variety of moves that he was using to his advantage, and it seemed to be evening the playfield. Compliments coming from the likes of you mean nothing to me. But don't worry, Cooler. I bet you realize that you're a little more powerful than me in my current state. However, this isn't my limit. I decided to take a lesson out of your playbook and toy with you before I show you how inferior you are. It took me a while to manage to combine this move with my ultimate technique, but now that I have it, you don't stand a chance. Get ready for the Kaioken! A Kaio what? Cooler's question was interrupted by another punch to the face. This one hurting literally twice as hard as the previous ones. As he went flying away, he looked forward to see a red blast flying overhead and landing directly behind him, just to receive another punch to the back. Of course! That red glow. It's what he had used years ago, and he hadn't seen him use it thus far. That's what that was called? A Kaioken? There was no denying it. It was entirely true. Piccolo had completely dwarfed him in power. Now he had no answer. Piccolo had stronger technique, a better moveset, and physical power that exceeded his own by such a large margin. For the first time ever, Cooler was truly afraid. Even Cumber, who had thus far been fairly uninterested with the battle, began to have more of his attention put onto it. This was certainly a fun battle to watch now. Piccolo grabbed Cooler by the tail and began spinning him around rapidly. Cooler was growing dizzy and not figuring out a way to get out of this, but he was sent flying into yet another cliffside. And as he was flying, he heard Piccolo yell Kaioken times 3, and then things got even worse for him. But Piccolo knew that this was his limit for now. This ultimate technique on top of the Kaioken was certainly more straining than even the Kaioken times 50 back in the day. This was something he needed to be careful with. 3 was the limit without truly straining himself. He could do it for an extended period of time, but no more right now. But it was plenty. He completely dwarfed Cooler in power and sent him flying clear across the planet, beating him every inch of the way. Cooler had no answer. Piccolo was the most calculated fighter he had ever seen, and he couldn't land a single hit on him. Every single move he made was with the anticipation of a counterattack. Eventually, his body couldn't even keep up anymore. He dropped out of his golden form, being unable to maintain it any further. He lay there on the ground, broken and defeated, staring up at the being that could be the end of him. Piccolo, please, I am sorry. Forgive me. Spare me. I will never bring harm to a planet that you care about again. I swear it. There was a time I was a lot like you, Cooler. All I cared about was power, conquering, and killing my rival, Goku. But I was given a chance to change by my very rival, and I took it. It took time for me to become this person that I am now, but I'm proud to be that. You, however, have chosen never to change. It was your brother years ago that laid waste to the original planet Namek, sentencing it to death with everyone on it. And it was nothing but our efforts alone that managed to bring them back and stop him from the havoc he had caused. And you, here you are, following perfectly in his footsteps. I can even feel his power on that ship over there. You brought him back. There's nothing about you that's ever changed. Frankly, you're worse than the day I met you. And I'm tired of having Earth be in danger by your hand at every waking moment. This ends now. Piccolo made a chopping motion to remove Cooler's head clean from his body, but before it could connect, he was stopped. Startled, he looked back to see what had stopped him. It was Cumber grabbing his arm. Surely, you are stronger than the Super Saiyan God I had fought in my day. Impressive, Namekian. Perhaps I should refer to you as the Namekian God. Yes, the Namekian God. I like that. However, I am the Slayer of Gods, and I suppose that should be you as well. Cumber promptly ripped Piccolo's arm directly off of his body. Piccolo collapsed to the ground, writhing in pain, but before Cumber could get a second hit connected, he teleported away. Piccolo had used instant transmission to put himself directly next to Elder Mori and the child Namekian, and using instant transmission again, the three of them were gone. Piccolo landed on the world of the Kais with the other two Namekians in tow, and Shin was surprised to see him. Piccolo, your arm, what happened? Inquired Shin, confused and a little afraid at whatever could hurt him. At this point, he knew that Piccolo completely dwarfed him in power as well. If this was a problem that Piccolo couldn't deal with, well, it might be something that only Beerus could handle. Piccolo regenerated his arm and responded. It was some Saiyan named Cumber. Do you know anything about that? No, Piccolo, I'm afraid I don't. However, perhaps Beerus and Whis does. We could travel to their planet and ask them. Piccolo agreed, and the two of them traveled there together, leaving Mori and the child Namekian to wonder what the heck was going on. On Beerus' planet, they arrived to see their Saiyan friends training, and Beerus and Whis surprised to see them. They filled them in on the situation and received about the same answer that Shin had given them. They had basically no idea who this Cumber was. Heck, Up until recently, Whis and Beerus were completely unaware that any Saiyans had even survived. I'll be honest, as soon as I located the Saiyans on Earth, I stopped searching for more of you. I kind of assumed that you were all dead. I hate to be the one to deliver this news to you, Whis, but clearly you didn't search hard enough. I know for a fact my brother is still alive out there. Surely there have to be more Saiyans too. More Saiyans, you say? Well, Whis, if there's more of them, I want to know. Figure out who this Cumber is, and find any others out there too. Very well, Master Beerus. And the rest of you, you'd better head back to Earth yourself. If anybody's going to protect it, it has to be you. Remember, we cannot intervene with mortal affairs. That being said, if I locate any other Saiyans willing to fight by your side, I'll bring them directly to you. They all agreed, and Whis took them back to the planet Earth, and that's where we're going to be leaving things for right now. If you enjoy epic battles involving Piccolo, check out this one where Chi-Chi becomes a Saiyan. And I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.